Well, hello everyone, and welcome to week number 299 of the virtual Cobalt Poets series. Glad to have you all here. My name is Rick Lupert, your MC for tonight's evening of poetry. In addition to our open reading tonight, our featured reader is Ngoma Hill. Ngoma, really super happy that you are here with us. Really loved when you were here last time, and can't wait to see what you're going to do for us tonight. We are going to do a little bit of our open reading first, 5 open readers, and then have our featured reader, and then the rest of the open reading. If you would like to participate by reading tonight and you haven't already done so, please send me a message in the chat and I'll be happy to add you. As always, 2 poems maximum. Suggested time limit is less is more. We do have a 1 drink minimum here at the Cobalt Cafe. Please honor that long-standing tradition in any way that you are comfortable doing so. Cheers to all of you. And finally, make sure you have the chat room open if you don't already, so you can interact with each other and as well as react to the poets who you hear and see reading. I believe that is everything I need to tell you. Before we get on to our first reader, I would like to ask if there are any questions. Finn, yes.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everybody. Rick, if you were cursed to only eat one thing from the menu of these two restaurants for the rest of your life, would you choose Burger King or Wendy's?
As a vegetarian, I would probably choose Burger King because they have a delicious Impossible Whopper. And I don't think that Wendy's has anything like that on their menu. And so, therefore, if I chose Wendy's, I would probably starve, which doesn't sound like the best plan. You know what I'm saying? So, we're going to go with Burger King for the Impossible Whopper, and also the bonus that unlike McDonald's, which I realize wasn't one of the choices, Burger King's fries are actually vegetarian, whereas McDonald's fries, as you may know, are made with beef tallow. So I haven't had a
Yeah,
McDonald's French fry in a couple of decades or more as a result.
you did your research. Cool.
Yep.
That was a trick question.
All right. Thank you, Finn. Looks like Martin has a question. Hello, Martin.
Hello, Rick. I wasn't sure which way you're going on that because Wendy's used to have a good salad bar, but I'm not sure if they do anymore. But anyway, my question tonight is sunrise or sunset?
Definitely sunset, because I can't be bothered to wake up that early. Though, on a rare occasion, there have been times when I'm still up by the time the sun rises, and that's kind of cool. But waking up to see it, I'm not sure I could do that.
Well, we'll see how I feel about a little later, maybe.
All right. Thank you, Martin. Cathabella, yes.
Rick, if someone saw you in the distance or thought they saw you, what would about you would they recognize and say, "Oh, that's Rick Lupert"? What could you say? What would they think? See,
They'd probably go, "Oh, it's that person that's smaller than everyone else. That must be Rick Lupert." Yeah, I think it's my defining physical feature outside of Zoom.
see, most people wouldn't know that from this program if they didn't see you.
I look much taller on Zoom. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Good
Sure.
answer.
Thank you, Cathabella. Any other questions before we get going? I see no other questions, so let us get going. On deck, our second reader will be Martin Parker. Please welcome our first reader, Jeffrey Bryant. Hello, Jeffrey.
Hi, good to see everybody. I haven't been here in a couple of weeks. So, uh, this is not a poem. This is not a poem about bone failure or supermodel sunsets or how the meaning of life is the intellectual property of octopi. It's not a raw haiku, a political sestina, a lovesick sonnet, hot like Dante, alcoholic with metaphor. This is not a poem sleeping in a textbook, experiencing ennui, sung badly before baseball, full of unionized words that went on strike, leaving pages blank. This is not the poem I recited stripping naked while you snickered, waiting for the big reveal. This is not the poem we sang as an abad, as an incantation, as a set of explicit directions to each other's points of interest. Nope. There are other poems, yes. Lots of other poems. Poems that stanza like a tango and line break in half. Poems that can't make up their minds. Poems that arrive without warning, with 10 suitcases and long faces. Poems that somersault and stick their landings. But this poem is not that poem. This poet is not that poet. This poet stares at a cottage cheese ceiling where the tragedy of flesh is projected in Cinerama, where disease is in IMAX, where the poet's cries for mercy are in THX sound. This poet marinates in Hollywood, notices dishwasher spots on Frolic Room stemware. This poet died the day the man in black went missing from the jukebox. Second poem. How many windows do you have to close to hear what scrapes, to hear rust sing the hymns of working men, to hear whispers coming from the wood? How many door slams was your first marriage? How much tragedy hung askew on your walls? How far do you think we can get now on $30 and weak knees? In the unpopulated town of Wisdom's Folly, surrounded by what's venomous and waterless and hopelessly divined, we bear all before a blood moon, recite thrift store prayers and roadside chants. We're the ones pulled over seconds after walking out the door. Can you bail me out of this flesh, this body built with flaws and union laughter? I need you, though, for leaning, for touching. But more than those, I need you to figure the elegant arithmetic of staying alive. Thank you.
You need any help with that math, Jeffrey, let me know. Thank you for both of those poems. I am curious what poem you did recite while naked waiting for the big reveal. You don't have to answer now.
Come back next week.
Come back next week.
Come back next week for that one.
Please. All right, good. Jeffrey, thank you so much for opening up the show for us. Great job, as always. Round of applause for Jeffrey Bryant. On deck, the collab, Cathabella and Siggy tonight. And didn't see Jackie here. Please welcome now Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. I've got a couple poems here, and you might not be surprised to find that this recent one is called Sunrise. I haven't seen the sunrise for a while, yet heard it call to me today through words of a song of longing and hope for illumination of the proper way, to move beyond this wintry scene and all I've seen that causes pain, regrets for all that might have been, if I had made a better plan. As fading shadows pass me by, I pray for light to cleanse my soul of thoughts that I hold clenched inside, which often leave me feeling cold, until I let the sunlight in, remembering that the seasons change, while slowly grinds the mill of time, revealing truths sublime and strange. And I thought I'd follow that up with a poem about sunset that I wrote about 40 years ago. When the setting sun will paint a line along the edges, and leaves will make the fading light a subtle shade of mauve, then little birds will dash and dart, both to and from the hedges, a loosely woven warbling garb, sweeping o'er the grove. And that's my few poems, and I'll put my usual links in for my word art, like my wave behind me, if anybody wants to check it out. And also a link for some links for the Poetry Global Network's new anthology, which is now available. So in case you're wondering what that looks like, I'll put the links in the chat.
Martin, thank you very much for your work tonight. You got me thinking sunrise, sunset.
Love that. Love that whole thing. Saw it in the theater a couple times.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. Thank you for those memories and for the ones that you shared as well. Thanks for being here. A round of applause for Martin Parker. On deck, Mr. Tezozomok, please welcome Kathabella and Siggy. Hello to both of you.
Thank you, Rick. And we have accompaniment by Rick Wilson. I'll share screen. There we go. Okay. So very exciting. Rick, unless you would like to read Kazuwaki, I'll read him. We have Kazuwaki, not in person, but as inspiration here. You want to try it?
I'm reading later, so I don't want to overstay
Okay,
my
all right.
welcome.
Thank you. Okay, here we go. Siggy, I read Kazuwaki, you read Jackie. There's just one of Jackie's there. Okay, I'd recognize you anywhere. On a rainy, this is Kazuwaki, on a rainy, doing nothing day, I feel more sensitively on the colors of coming hydrangea. Capabella says, alone with Mom, till they took her away in the dark. Her tiny blue suitcase still bulging with hydrangeas. Jackie. Siggy?
The deep blue of hydrangeas like paint seeping through paper with presses of the brush. Jackie.
Mm-hmm. Siggy.
Overcast, days on end, shades of gray, leaves are popping, lime green, my favorite.
Kazuaki says, on the moment of recalling his remark that the floret gives a sweet fragrance to omelet. I already miss this season again. Kazuaki. Who cares if there aren't 1,000 zucchini? Squash blossom omelets, the extravagant pleasure I make of the first blooms. Siggy.
First time, farmer's market, new pickles. Unique flavor this year, pickled fiddleheads.
Never heard of that. And here's Kazuwaki. praised by a drunken man that I am quite recognizable, both from the front side and back side. Kazuaki. Siggy.
At the market, the lady mentioned she knew the girl from my house. Laughing, it was my daughter, and I no longer look the same.
I'd recognize you anywhere. I say to my shadow, your darkness, under the jacaranda, carefully covered with purple flowers. That's it. And here's Rick. Thank you.
This is a replica of a mid 18th century flute made in London, and it's made of
Stay
ivory.
there for a minute. I want to take a
What?
picture of you with
Oh,
Rick.
okay, sorry, I'm
The
posing
two
for a
Ricks here are
picture.
always trying to get away.
All right,
Yeah, there you go.
okay.
Thank you, everybody. That was so much fun to do together.
Thank you, Cathabella and Siggy and Rick. I'm kind of wondering if anyone cares if there aren't 1,000 zucchini. Please feel free to answer in the chat. It feels like a lot of zucchini, and we could do with less for our personal needs, but who knows?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for reading Kazuaki and Jackie as well. Round of applause for those guys. Thank you so much. On deck, we've got two more readers than our featured reader, Ngoma. Ken Scott, you are on deck. Please welcome now Mr. Tezozomo. Hello, Tez.
Hi there. Thank you for having me here. I'm going to do this piece, The Abyss of Trauma. We must vacate and abandon abolishment. The body is rendered immobile, and we focus on the trauma, the law, desire, and how the transgression enters our gaze. It shatters idyllic life, customary order, the mendacity of quotidian life. The suspense results from shattering the semiotic fiction of totality. This device becomes the cognitive disturbance against the exterior thread that is drawn into the interior, contaminates the fictional whole. The surplus knowledge is itself enough to maintain trauma for a long time, even far from the field of view. The intersection of trauma as the inner tension that invades social fantasy of wholeness, the 0 degree of suspense. The neutral gaze loses its objectivity, its transparence, becoming reflected in the mirror stage of the return of the real. Shame represents the point where gaze enters fascinum, the blackmail, moving into unease and the sense of instability and anxiety. Shame as the black screen of the window with the malfunctioning neon sign of the crime, the landscape, the facade, the stain that can't be hidden like the jet of urine against the wall, the anxious suspense of intimate mixture of panic, mobility of the viscosity of terror. Finally, the scarred silhouette blot is the counterpart, the concentrated point, the 0 degree that accomplishes the form of the positive expression. Thank you.
Tez, thank you very much. Nice piece tonight. Don't always hear short poems from you. I appreciate the brevity sometimes. And it was good to hear it. Thank you so much for being here. A round of applause for Mr. Tezozomo. On deck, our featured reader, Ngoma. Please welcome now Ken Scott. Hello, Ken.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. First piece of two pieces that I'm going to do is one that I just wrote with regards to the Iraq War when it first broke out. And this is also the title piece of the collection I just finished called When Empires Die. When apex predators are aware of their own inevitable death circling them for the kill, they attack everything within reach. They foam at the mouth, roaring, howling, shrieking, shredding, biting, lacerating, lying, cheating, stealing, bombing, torturing, raping, sniping, slaughtering with epic fury. The only thing left in their soulless heart-shaped chasm is blind fear, desperation, insanity, perpetual torment, a bottomless rage that sets hell ablaze. All that remains when empires die is the pathetic beast, mortally wounded, violently lashing out in every direction, while his mountains of wealth crumble to dust. That's that one. Second piece I'm going to do is more along the lines of the supernatural, and this has to do with new revelations that I came across, also a new work. This piece is called Into the Power of Wholeness. Your power, your true power, your supernatural power, your celestial power resides in the subconscious vibration of wholeness, the subconscious frequency of wholeness, power that renders you indestructible, invulnerable to all the elements of the natural world, invulnerable to all weapons, and invulnerable to the illusion known as unconditional mortality. Carnal emotions like fear, wrath, greed, lust, obsession, and despair keep you trapped in survival mode, perpetuating the subconscious vibration of lack, the subconscious frequency of lack, which robs you of all power and renders you a slave of the natural world, a slave of perpetual suffering, and a slave of unconditional mortality. Overcome the carnal emotions by remaining focused upon the waking meditations of gratitude, contentment, appreciation, compassion, empathy, infinite optimism, boundless peace, perpetual joy, and eternal love. This is how you ascend into the power of wholeness. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
And thank you. I'm still hoping that our empire isn't dying and we're just having a momentary series of terrible choices. But I guess we'll see. And maybe a new empire will come along without destroying everything in the way. I know that's not historically what's happened, but you know, technology, it's a little bit different now, I guess, but we'll see. Ken, thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate your work and your social conscious. Thanks so much. Round of applause for Ken Scott. Okay, on deck after our featured reader will be Chris Kondo, which leads us now to our featured reader, Ngoma. My main exposure to Baba Ngoma Hill was when he was here several months ago as a participant in our open reading, and immediately, if any of you were here, I'm sure remember it blew us away with his performance, with his mix of music and percussion in the middle of it. It was incredibly solid and engaging, and it was kind of like straight from that to the list of please invite this person as soon as possible to be one of our featured readers, which leads us to tonight, since he said yes and he is here. Ngoma is a performance poet, multi-instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, artivist, and paradigm shifter who for over 50 years has used culture as a tool to raise socio-political and spiritual consciousness through work that encourages critical thought. Ngoma is a former member of Amiri Baraka's The Spirit House Movers and Players. It's quite a credit, Ngoma, and the contemporary freedom song duo Serious Business. He weaves poetry and song that raises contradictions and searches for a solution to a just and peaceful world. I don't know that we will find a solution tonight in Ngoma, but I'm sure looking forward to guiding us in that direction. Thank you so much for being here. Please welcome our featured reader, Ngoma.
Hey, it's good to see everybody. I'm wanting to play some instruments, but there's usually a setting that says for music and stuff, and I don't see one for this one. So when I start playing stuff, if it sounds distorted, let me know. So we won't do it again. Now let's go. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me, over me. And before I be stay, I'll be buried in my grave. And I fight for the right to be free. Where I come from. I come from back of the bus and colored water fountains. I come from segregated toilets and no niggas or dogs allowed. I come from segregated and unequal schools with hand-me-down books. I come from sit up in the balcony. I come from you can't buy a house in this neighborhood. I come from you can't eat at this lunch counter. I come from go around the back and get your food. I come from picket lines, bus boycotts, and fire hoses. I come from freedom rides, freedom songs, and jail cells. I come from we've been butted, we've been scorned. I come from we shall overcome. I come from black fists raised high, little Bobby Hutton, Fred Hampton, and George Jackson. I come from street fighting and rebellion, San Quentin and Attica, Black Panthers, Young Lords, and free breakfast programs. I come from runaway slaves. I come from Amiri Baraka, Simba Wachunga, and Watu Wazuri. I come from poor libations on ancestors' graves. I come from the struggle to be free, to be free, to be free. Oh, freedom over me. Oh. Mic check. Mic check. This is a test. This is a test. The state of disunion is homeless and has no address. This is a test. Wrapped in a tattered, blood-splattered banner, Fat Sam sleeps on park benches, begs spare change from the Japanese embassy, payback for Hiroshima. The Wall Street yo-yo defies balance. Budget won't budge, eviction papers served. Angry landlords demand cash deposits before postponement, but no postponement of poverty is granted. Only in God we trust. Stamped on a gold bullion, or maybe a Krugerrand might do, but plastic melts down and jams up at ATM machines, and the ashes at the token booth is only a token of the sickness. It's 12:46 a.m. and this poem interrupts the night demanding to be written, because bosses like bowling balls throw strikes against unions, and 30 pieces of silver won't save your soul. Willie lynched us so bad violence doesn't shock us anymore. Not even death lasts forever as a daily diet is elusive to the many. All the factories are closed. Nothing's made here anymore. No one works. All the unions busted. Everyone's gone fishing. All the fish are dead. Even nuns have dildos, and confessional chambers are not safe for your young sons. The cross is a sword used by conquerors stuck in the heart of the earth. The richest country in the world is morally bankrupt. The president's a joke. Sounds like an emergency to me. Some take it as a joke or hoax to keep the peace at least, or at least to keep the peace. But I really need to know, are you listening? Can we all get to the same page in this book of life? Mic check. Mic check. This is a test. The state of disunion is homeless and has no address. Is this thing on? So this is put it where you can see it. This is a 3-string cigar box guitar. When Africans were brought here, they couldn't bring their instruments when they were brought here and enslaved. They couldn't bring instruments, and they made instruments out of whatever they could make them out of. And one of the things was a guitar box. So this one's kind of updated. It's got a pickup and stuff on it. But anyway. Didn't come on the Mayflower, came on the good ship Jesus. I'm a star Tilda, Henrietta Marie, chain bound and shackled from Gory Taylor, Mina Castle, copper and Manila, sugar and tobacco. Stopped on Evo Landing, try to walk on water. I'm a runaway, I'm a renegade, I'm a son of a dusty daughter. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. Sing my blues, sing my blues. In Mark Beasley in Charleston, many other maroons, Nat Turner, John Brown, Harriet Tubman, freedom bound. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. Sing my blues, sing my blues. Work from sun up to sundown. Ancestors born by the pound. Ancestors buried in hallowed ground. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. Sing my blues, sing my blues. Okay, what's next? Where it come from? We shall not bow down to racism. We shall not bow down to injustice. We shall not bow down to exploitation. What you gonna do? I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. Democracy. Teeter-totters on the precipice of our discontent. Put through the microscope of integrity, coming up deficient of honesty. As the college elects to misrepresent those crying out for proof that the so-called Constitution is constitutional. Not just archaic babble left over from centuries past, guarded by laughing gargoyles on the steps of justice. Apathy, the aching tooth of Dracula. Fangs dripping Middle Eastern oil of Spat Sam needs a colonic. 500 years of lies backed up in his constitution. Constituents tired of being pregnant with hope seek out abortions, feeling voting has no purpose in this hypocrisy, where the two-headed coin has two bad sides, and anyway it falls, oppression rules. Martial law hiding in the shadows, waiting for the eagles to fall. Conspiracy theories ignored, while those who disorder the new world wait for its deliverance to the gates of hell. We shall not bow down to racism. We shall not bow down to injustice. We shall not bow down to oppression. What you gonna do? I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna stand. Yeah. Sorry, it takes me a minute here. Before the end of the world, if you think I'm sexy, let me know. Because we could get it on before these madmen blow up the world. I could be your bridge from the past to the future, because the present doesn't present much hope, and I'm looking for an alternative to war. Maybe a dark beer or a Nazi dread woman who practices ganja inhalation meditation. I want to taste the THC on her tongue. Take me to some other place deep between her thighs. I want to contemplate a navel from the inside. Search for answers to questions like what makes her juices flow. And I'm looking for an end to rhetoric. There's a battle going on to capture your mind. Surround yourself in light. Forget your prayers. Instead of trying to talk to God, meditate. God will talk to you. Listen to the silence. It may be the only good news available as lost souls cry out the truth. Sacrifices to injustice, victims of the world's disorder. Beware of bushes that burn. Wake up and kiss the world's on fire. I saw it on the news the other day. Some madmen with stolen passports. Men of no property who love death more than women and freedom more than anything set fire to Twin Towers and the Pentagon. Snakes' eyes came up like skeletons. The stench of rotting corpses poisoning Wall Street. Wrapped in old glory, the Dow tumbles like a drunk down a dark stairway, a victim of amnesia, forgetting all the crimes she has committed. Pleading not guilty in a court of insanity, a cacophony of stolen elections, genocidal reflections, and wars that rage on since Solomon's temple. So choose the red or the blue pill, if you will. You scoffed when told to behold that the horse was pale. Liberty is stuck at the airport, bags being searched by the National Guard, cheeks spread, raped again, like Haiti, Vietnam, and Iraq. The news is controlled by Disney. The fantasy on your TV is stark reality. Only you have the power to change it. Put down your flag. It cannot protect you from the karma. So I live in Harlem, so I'm gonna take you on a little trip uptown. How many New Yorkers on here? None? Just me? Martin, okay. Take you all uptown. Take you all uptown a little. Harlem, oh Harlem, oh Harlem, my pen bleeds for you. Howling like a dog in the heat of the full moon night, suffering root shocks as the tree of life was bulldozed. Lost forever buried in concrete invisible. Wandering like a lost soul trying to find its name, battling extinction. Babbling on in Babylon, telling endless stories of the people and the places and the faces that they've seen, both in this life and the past. For the door to the past leads to the future, not to repeat the bitter with the sweet. Oh yes, I remember sweet, like hot donuts from George's and bean pies and fish sandwiches from the Muslim steak and take when you got the munchies. Schools at the crossroads, 125th and Lenox, from a stepladder, listening to Malcolm Martin and Carlos Cook, across from the Teresa Hotel where Fidel stayed, because they wouldn't give him a room in the inn downtown, kind of like Jesus and Mary, when Lindy was the hop, before B was the bop, long before hip-hop. Maybe some numbers runners on a bootleg or two, Langston Renaissance, Claude McKay and Zora too. These sweet memories I bring to you, babbling on in Babylon, where Malcolm was assassinated at the Audubon. Summers filled with menacing Order the Feather and Tapawingo, Telenite at the Apollo. Before boys were shipped overseas to fight old men's wars, before the smack and the crack, buying the latest LP from Sakulu's Record Shack. Checking out Miriam and Hugh grazing in the grass. Before bad Thomas Sankara waved his pearl-handled pistol in the air at Harriet Tubman School. He was later assassinated. We still go through the Cotton Club. Duke's spirit still lives there. The late-night East Flowers Wells where chicken and waffles dwell, long before IHOP got Christopher Columbus fever and discovered it. When African vendors lined 125 Street selling their wares, incense and oil in the air, I'm just here bringing your memory back to black, babbling on in Babylon. Oh Harlem, oh Harlem, oh Harlem, my pen bleeds for you. Yeah, that's it. Unless you want me to do another one, I could do that. But
Ngoma, thank you for the signal. That was amazing. Undoubtedly one of the most satisfying readings I've experienced in Cobalt Poets in the entire history of the series, online or in person. Thank you so much. There was nothing to not like about that. What a talented person you are, not just with words, but with multi instruments. I think it's the first time we've ever had a two flute show, counting you and Rick Wilson from earlier. So that was a cool experience. All the percussion, all the music, all the words. I particularly like the line, sounds like an emergency. To me, it seems like every headline we have lately, we're not treating like the emergency that it is. So thank you for that. Thank you for showing us where you come from in your words and in that last poem as well. Truly satisfying, amazing featured reading, Ngoma. Thank you so much. I'm going to show the broadside I made for your poem. Actually, let me paste the stuff in the chat first. And there you go. Folks can download this now if you would like. It's the broadside for Ngoma's poem Peace. It's on the Cobalt Poets website. It's an 11 by 17 print that you can have, print out, or just look at anytime that you want. I hope you'll consider tipping our featured reader for his reading. We have a Cash App ID that I pasted into the chat that you can use to send a tip to Ngoma if you would like. Please do. It's the same thing as if you're at an in-person reading, putting some money in the hat that goes around for the featured reader. Tonight, the Cash App is the Cash App ID is the hat. Again, I think I'm speaking on behalf of everyone here when I say wow and thank you so much. That was truly a satisfying, worthwhile featured reading, Ngoma.
thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing it.
Please come back anytime. Would love to hear more from you. Folks, give a round of applause for our featured reader, Ngoma.
Thank you.
All right. I'll quickly mention before we get to the rest of tonight's open reading that next week our featured reader will be Sneha Madhavan-Reese, a poet whose work I came across in Rattle magazine. She undoubtedly will be a very different but very good presentation for us next week. That's what's happening next week on June 9th. That brings us to the rest of tonight's open reading. Here's who I have on the list in this order. Chris Kondo, Finn Bell, Denise Dumars, Bill Gaines, Michael G. Hickey, Carrie Cox, Jennifer Elise Wang, Jared Campbell, Ed Potastic, Dig Wayne, and me. If anyone else would like to be added to the list, don't hesitate to send me a message in the chat and I'll be happy to add you. As a reminder, 2 poems maximum. Less is more is the suggested time limit. Finn Bell, you're on deck. Please welcome our next reader, Chris Kondo. Hello, Chris.
Hello, what an act to follow. Wow. Thank you so much. That was amazing, that performance, everything about it. Okay, so here to share a couple of very short ones. Let's go this up. Come on. Okay, all along the dream path, nooks and crannies to curl up in, dreams within dreams. All along the dream path, nooks and crannies to curl up in, dreams within dreams. And the next one. My forebears who crossed wide, wide oceans, their faces, do they sometimes stare out of my mirror? Poor bears who crossed wide, wide oceans, their faces, do they sometimes stare out of my mirror? Thank you.
Chris, thank you. Lovely palette cleanser from the completely different energy we had before you. Perfectly awesome on its own terms. Thank you so much for being here. Nice job. Round of applause for Chris Kondo. Thank you, Chris. On deck is Denise Dumars. Please welcome Finn Bell. Hello, Finn.
Hello, Rick. Thanks so much. And thank you, Ngoma. Blessings. That was a incredible set. Glad I was able here to be here to witness it. So 2 poems, relatively new. The first one is titled So Peculiar. Epigraph. There are some people I know whose beauty is a crime. Jessica Hagedorn, Sorcery. Where did the beauty go? The one that reeled me in. Your almost green-flecked eyes and a face I didn't think I trusted even then. Your gap-toothed grinning, let me inside. There was a gap in me. Take your chances, slide on in. Did I know then how easy it was for the silkiest lies to slip between your lips? You believe them, I believe them. Hey, no one was saying we should go ahead and find another and create a maelstrom. Heck, a maelstrom is not correct. Those are really hard to sit up and emerge from, right? Unship from moor, my goddamn boat. I float still and still. You did, though you did, man, did you? You placed your hand between both gusts and parted them, thinking yourself a Moses of sorts, leading your followers back into the storm or creating another one to walk straight through. I swear the promised land was this way. I'll just leave y'all, you gorgeous, gorgeous wreckage. I'll leave you at the next stop, okay? Some people are so beautiful in the last desperate light. Their beauty are not so much a crime, but a reason to check oneself in, maybe check out a life and phone a friend meekly. Health check. I'm here. No, not really. Carry on. You'll carry on. All the beautiful things they carry on. Just up and leave. Thank you. And then this next one is called Urn of Sorrows. That title was given to me by Debbie Siegel, who attends here sometimes. I am going to mold my silence into a vessel, a crude urn to keep all the things I've left unsaid. I once held it wet and unformed in my hands, but it has toughened its shell over the years. Its impenetrable, careful layers began to keep me out, pushing me to not recall my own secrets and sorrows. If I crack this quiet open, I fear I would not recognize what is inside. In the beginning, I marveled at how my silence was also my hands cupped around it, smoothing and coaxing it upwards. Silence and self were one and the same. How splendid we were together as we made doves spring forth from the putty and transfigured the tips of my fingers into their wings, their safety, their home tree branched outward before the breath, the leap, body gathering as they ascend their first flight. Too late, my bereft palms thought to reach heaven bound, a failure to catch what I had lost, to keep it in my protection. In the space I left exposed a moment between my arms, a nest had formed. The nest carried new life. I lifted each egg tucked between its twig and down, held them up to the light, perfect ellipse of spun sugar glass. Solitary will not breed sanity. My angst, mother born, mother forsaken, shaped them to the warmth of my palm, and I crushed them open. I mourned their brief presence, closed ranks among thumb and ring finger to capture their bleeding yolk, but in its place sat nothing at all, where I was merely clawing at the indifferent air. I looked down at my empty hands gone gnarled and leafless, warding off the sun? Can the form of soundlessness be willed from tree limb to trowel? Can I dig myself a moat, a cushion of viscous water, a river to float on easy pauses? Can I dig a hole deeper still than my own roots, find the slope and points of slumbering words, yank the severed neck or sharpened tail of a buried consonant, an M or a P to use as a pick, to chisel outward, to wave aloft, utter once into the palpable hush, the solitary, help me.
Whatever we can do, Finn, we'd be happy to help you. Thank you for taking us to your promised land tonight. That epigram, some people I know whose beauty is a crime out of control. Also, thanks for being here tonight. Round of applause for Finn Bell. On deck, Bill Gaines. Please welcome now Denise Dumars. Hello, Denise.
Hi, everybody. Wow, Baba and Ngoma, that was just transported me. It really did. Everybody's really awesome tonight also. I have two short ones that are both new, probably will be revised at some point, but we'll see. Forgotten. What will I have forgotten or fixed by the time the next crisis comes around? What color is the sea when you look through alien glasses? What are humans and insects compared to awakening clouds? I've no interest in the dark that they keep selling, in false light or imaginary dawns. Reflection is as real when reality is just another gimmick. Stray breezes with bullets strafe the beach, and sand crabs know to hide. We are not used to hiding. When we face the ocean, we lift our callow faces and think we own the sky. And this one's called Watering Can. I think I'm going to, at some point, put together a collection of just things around the house, maybe starting with my poem about stucco. So here's Watering Can. Oh, anatomy of atomized, oh, sorry, I meant galvanized, oh, the steel of it, yet so light it trips the garden path, so lovely, waiting for the quivery violets, the lily stalks that grow 5 feet overnight, the quaking strawberries that really don't want to live in that torturous pot. Oh, Watering Can, you belong with a calico and crinoline frock, Black Mary Jane's slightly scuffed, and the hope that spring has sprouted. I fill the watering can. It doesn't give me metal splinters like the hose does. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. I look forward to the collection of mundane item-inspired poems. Stucco is long overdue for an epic of some kind. So well done. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Denise Dumars. Thank you, Denise. On deck, Michael G. Hickey. Please welcome Bill Gaines. Hello, Bill.
Hello, everybody. Happy Pride. And I will just reiterate once again, what a reading. Well done. And thank you so much for that, Ngoma. I have two short ones tonight. The first is called A Passing. A cowboy on a horse passed a space alien on an alien horse. And the cowboy and the alien locked eyes. And the horse and the alien horse locked eyes. And it was clear they had no beef. So the cowboy tipped his cowboy hat, and the alien waved a sign of peace. And they both rode on through the vast and dreamy desert. A blessing. Where now are the old poets to look backward for us? They have taken up arms once again. The seasons of war come back like clockwork, ever forward on a measured loop with a toll to announce the time. It's always beer o'clock somewhere, they say. The youngest poets look forward, they say. A poet dreams of a sword, they say, and a swordsman dreams of a pen. Spit hard for whom you spit, warriors. Scream before the charge. Your chosen love must lead your weapon true, your chosen battle remembered well. That's it for me.
Thank you, Bill. Perhaps later we'll all have a moment where we all just spit hard for the ones we spit for. Maybe in a few poets we'll try that just to see how it goes. It's solid direction. Thank you.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, that's my spit take anyway. Sorry. Bill, thank you so much for being here. Round of
Thank you for
applause
having me.
yeah, thanks. Round of applause for Bill Gaines. On deck, Carrie Cox. Please welcome now Michael G. Hickey. Hello, Michael.
Hello, it's great to be back. I missed a couple of weeks, so it's really nice to be here. I have two pieces I'd like to read tonight. I've joined a local acting group here in Seattle called Drunken Owl Theater, and I've been with them for 4 years. And so these are two pieces that I've read last night was closing night. And the theme this month was protest. Okay, so the first one is called That Kid Next Door. On July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 landed on the moon, purportedly during Neil Armstrong's mission to stomp around on the chalk dust of Earth's nearest heavenly body. At one point, the first man to set foot on the moon said, "Good luck, Mr. Gorski." Mr. Gorski? Several years after the moonwalk, a space historian wrote a letter to Armstrong asking that very question. Who in the hell is Mr. Gorski? It's simple, really, Armstrong wrote back. I grew up in Ohio, and when I was 8, I won my school's science fair, and it was all over the front page of the local newspaper. One day after school, I was playing in the backyard, and my baseball rolled under the Gorski house next door. I went over to retrieve it, and they were having a real doozy of an argument. I heard his wife shout, "Oral sex! Oral sex! You want oral sex? I'll give you oral sex when that kid next door walks on the moon." So, Armstrong said, "I just wanted to give Mr. Gorski the good news." Ah, yes, the eagle has landed, part 2. After watching the historic event on TV that fateful evening in July of 1969, Mr. Gorski flashes a reptile smile at his beloved bride of 32 years and 4 months and retreats back to the bedroom. Mrs. Gorski, meanwhile, guzzles the last of her wild turkey, and when she slams the cocktail glass on the coffee table, tiny ice cubes jump and dance in the air for joy. She scowls and follows him back to the bedroom. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for Mr. Gorski. Thank you. Okay, here's the other one. This is called Couples Therapy 2026. And again, the theme is protest. In retrospect, the problems were there from the beginning. The romance had always seemed a bit off, somehow, slightly askew. Eventually, there were rumors, innuendos, whispered words of caution, and now it's fairly common knowledge that their mutual affection had been waning for quite some time. But nobody could have predicted what happened next. In the midst of this new sensation called the internet, aka the World Wide Web, your early courtship was so cliche it might have climbed right out of a Hallmark card. The passion, the heart's heavy percussion, life's euphoric easiness. Remember, too, it was not all that many years ago when you two young lovers first met and almost instantaneously merged into one spirit, one being, one powerful singular presence in the universe that nobody had ever much heard of: autocorrect and artificial intelligence. Eventually, though, as it seems to do sometimes, that early fervor and frenzy petered out, so to speak. In reflection, though, I must say that back in the day, you two were quite the spectacular celestial rabble-rousers. You were always wreaking havoc with your hacking, encrypting, nitpicking through the nuclear codes, and of course, nothing amused you more than playing with space junk and toying with the trajectory of all that shrapnel from all those spent satellites, doomed to endlessly orbit the Earth. And sadly, in a way, You too have become part of that astral debris field. It started like this: autocorrect. Hi, honey, having a great time. Wish you were her. AI, here. Autocorrect. You have my full condoms. AI, condolences. Autocorrect. Closed today due to personal circumcisions. AI, circumstances. Autocorrect. Hey, honey, come home early if you want some dildo before dinner. AI, dill dip. On and on it went, lewd language tossed about like vernacular grenades, fired regularly and at random. Even to this day, they continue to ricochet around the universe from husband to wife, supervisor to subordinate, billionaire to billionaire. Over time, it became obvious that AI had serious control issues, and autocorrect had developed a behavioral obsession with sex, a bona fide addiction, if you will. This addiction affliction proved that autocorrect had an insatiable craving for the shock value of sexual language, erotica, and anything resembling an X-rated novel with Fabio on the front, his hair waving in the breeze. Couples therapy didn't last long for this high-tech couple. AI and autocorrect seemed to have linguistically matriculated past the point of reconciliation. There was a syntax under syntax, subject and verbs didn't agree, participles dangled in no discernible patterns. But they would always have the early days, AI and autocorrect. They would always have those glorious moments of yesteryear when the World Wide Web was new and fantastic. This internet thing was magical, percolating, pulsating. No one could have ever forget those tender moments of happy birthday to my dead husband, dear husband. Remember back when everything seemed to be filled with possibility and adventure, back before it all just got to be too much. Thanks.
Michael, thank you. In my experience, circumcisions are always personal. I don't know of another kind. So that's really everything I need to say about that. It's nice to see you again. It's been a while. I'm glad you're back. Thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. I just had a Tuesday scheduling conflict for a while, but that's over now. So I'm really glad to be back with you guys.
Likewise. All right. Good to see you. A round of applause for Michael G. Hickey. On deck, Jennifer Elise Wang. Please welcome Carrie Cox. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Rick. Hi, everyone. Happy to see you tonight. Happy Tuesday, poetry night. I have a couple new pieces for you. The first one is the one I tried to read last week when my phone died. So it's a new piece. It's untitled. I'm angelic asphalt stepped on and over, cracked with trunks of the oldest trees, shading their roots skyward and out with reaching geometry. Each new kiss like fresh rain splattering me clean, fresh winds out west, blowing notes of coastline cuttlefish where you collapse and creature comforts, growling with pleasure at sights unseen, skin shimmering under skylights we're building in our hearts, letting a loose light caress awake every below zero night alone into new lucid meaning better than dreaming, twin souls gleaming, a lighthouse mirrored, bold and beaming, every brand new blessing believed in, now bestowing your name a promised prophecy my heart was born knowing. And then I have another new one. It's a little longer. This is brand new. So it's also entitled Have I succumbed to the mind-numbing drums, unencumbered, unremembered, unrepentant, untender, unwilling to bend or break, every ache returned to sender, hitched by the roadsides, baptized by breath of fresh-baked mothering, the nonsense of November? I'm over artificial, the extra inflated sense of being hated, the times I was always late and you always waited, the kind of stories madly illustrated by the perplexing echoes of old reckoning, home wreckering every unraveled pocket that ever held a precious thing, the air current ruffling a flying bird's wing. Unbroken teeth sell the wider side of destiny, a northern nocturne where ice dances with melting in midair. Now I pick up the pretending tempo, a crunching cadence, stick-clacked awake. I envelop every arching towards and away. The long pole, the midnight sun, the kiss promising more of the mouth that made it, fading into soft sighs. I dream of taking a spear to hunt for the beasts of every last time, the doubt denting my dusky eyes, sideways shine, hooded I blink cobra quick, succumbing to the sublime. Thank you.
All right, Carrie, well done. Glad we got all the technical foibles out of the way and you got to share that poem after all. Excuse me. Thank you so much for being here. Round
Thank
of
you,
applause
Rick. I
for
made sure my phone was charged up.
well done. It's
All right.
essential. It's
Thank you.
essential. Round of applause for Carrie Conks. On deck, Jared Campbell. Please welcome Jennifer Elise Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, I've got two. The first is kind of just an old poem I wrote about chronic illness, but kind of also applies with what I'm going through right now. I recently had surgery for a torn meniscus, and having a visible disability has brought a lot of feelings. So this is If I Were a Cat. If I were a cat, things would be great, right? I could sleep most of the day, beg for treats and attention, walk away when I'm done, communicate so much with just a hiss. But would I actually have a home? Maybe I would when I was young, a cute little thing that let you cuddle me. But then I decided I didn't like that, and yet I still desired time with you. Suddenly you're too busy, more interested in someone else. And one day you had enough because you did not understand the feelings I tried to convey. If I were a cat, I would probably end up in the shelter or abandoned on the streets, hoping to end up in the shelter, hoping for a second chance. But people don't choose. Ragged, sad cats with dull eyes and too much baggage, disability robbing us of our youth. Would I be flagged for lashing out of fear or for being too much a burden with chronic illness? Would my time be up because I am undesirable? And the second one, a much happier one. In the Spirit of Pride, this was a poem I wrote. The prompt was a historic figure, and I learned about the public universal friend who was an early non-binary icon. I'll plug in their Wikipedia page. So I wrote this kind of in their honor. This is Resurrection of the Public Universal Friend. Trans and non-binary were not labels you knew back then. However, you buried your birth name and threw away your gender, even though writers continue to unearth that dead name and insist the public universal friend is a woman, or worse, a charlatan. Undermining dogma and norms brought critics indeed, but you focused on love and universal salvation, drawing all creeds and color to your flock. Iconoclast in the most accepting ways, Christ would have approved of your charity. Universal Friends was the first religious community founded by an American, yet no one brings it up, for women and non-binary folks are never included in our history books. Venerating God over husband, yet allowing marriage to happen, equality in the form of abolition and peaceful sharing of land, and repentance you did preach. Salvation could come for us all in the upcoming apocalypse if we followed you. Your detractors said those were lies, but they were the ones who threw the rocks. Frocked in masculine garb, yet hair long like a lady's, resurrected during a political revolution, inspiring a couple other women to discard their gender. Escaping a mob on horseback, you were the necessary glue that held your friends together, and the movement died when you didn't rise. But here I resurrect your spirit.
Jennifer, stellar work as always. For the record, if you were a cat, I would foster, feed, and care for you, just so you know. Actually, if you needed that as a human, let me know as well, for that matter. Thank you for being here. Meow, nice to see you. Round of applause for Jennifer Elise Wang.
Thank you.
On deck, Ed Potastic, please welcome Jared Campbell. Hello, Jared.
Hello. So I've got two, and I'll try to if I can. Here we go. All right. So I hope that's visible. I've got the first poem is Words. Words. There are poets for whom words are the oils with which they paint a portrait of the world. There are poets for whom words are the stepping stones on which they hop through the world. There are poets for whom words are the blue jeans that soak up the heaviness of the world. There are poets for whom words are the minutes of their lives, the lean that causes every moment to fall into the next. There are poets for whom words are the oils with which they paint a portrait of the world. Woe unto them. The world never becomes their painting, and their painting never becomes the world. There are poets for whom words are the stepping stones on which they hop through the world. Woe unto them. They dance where words can take them, and never swim in deep waters. There are poets for whom words are the blue jeans that soak up the heaviness of the world. Woe unto them. They carry such heavy burdens, but trail what is heaviest behind them. There are poets for whom words are the minutes of their lives, the lean that causes every moment to fall into the next. Woe unto them. They live for the poem to come, and to come never comes. There are poets for whom words are the oils with which they paint a portrait of the world. Blessed are the painters, the guardians of the difference between the painted and the painting. There are poets for whom words are the stepping stones on which they hop through the world. Blessed are the dancers, the guardians of the path. There are poets for whom words are the blue jeans that soak up the heaviness of the world. Blessed are the carriers, the guardians of memory. There are poets for whom words are the minutes of their lives, the lean that causes every moment to fall into the next. Blessed are the prophets, the guardians of promise. Blessed are the painters. Blessed are the dancers. Blessed are the carriers. Blessed are the prophets. Icicle rain. Icicle rain, icicle rain, jitterbug dancing in icicle rain. Why is the sky, when it's never the same as the float of the morning in icicle rain? Icicle rain, icicle rain. It falls if it wants. It's no use to complain. Get up, give up and live. Get your cloviest flame and go jitterbug dancing in icicle rain. Icicle rain, icicle rain. It's hot in the heart and it's cold in the brain. It's calling the falling, a confident game. So do it together in icicle rain.
Well, I got to be honest, icicle rain sounds kind of dangerous, Jared. they're going to need specialized umbrellas, I think, for that. We're all going to need that. So I
Take
guess thank you for
precautions.
thank you for the warning, and thank you for the blessing of the first poem, and to come never comes for some. Really enjoyed that, the whole rhythm of that piece, and thanks for being here tonight.
All right, thank you.
Round of applause for Jared Campbell. Well done, Jared. We got two more folks before me to close out the open reading. Dig Wayne, you're on deck. Please welcome now Ed Potastic. Hello, Ed.
Hello, our wonderful host that we love the most, that deserves toast, that goes coast to coast. Hello, my name is Ed Potastic. I'm feeling fantastic. Please give me time so you can join my rhyme, for I feel sublime. I got two pieces, so I will take too much time. This is called Broken Bread. It's not the bread. Yes, that's what I said. It's about the ingredients, the nutritions of its existence. No, sorry, nutrients of the existence. Sorry, people just want a taste. The story goes to waste. The story of the flour giving its fluffy power. The story of the yeast creating a rising beast. The story of water bringing a boiling talker. The story of salt providing a savory halt. The story of butter adding a rich color. The story of eggs holding fragile kegs. The story of honey bringing a floral sunny. It's like me and you traveling in the blue. You are the stories, finding grander glory. It's written all over you. You define what you do. Remember, be the bread. Don't rattle inside your head. You're full of uniqueness. Remember to check off your list. You say that it doesn't define me. Well, express yourself with poetry. Sorry with that. The other one's called Slim Margin. If you subtract it, we won't get it. If you divide it, we won't supply it. It will wither away. What more can I say? It's really sad. They love to be bad. We work our butts off to buy them a golden loincloth. We are working for peanuts, but it's conflict between us. We're working for cents, but they're stuck in merriment. The rich are getting richer while our money gets thinner. The poor are getting poorer while their worries get shorter. How is this fair? Why can't they share? If you can buy two BMWs, you can buy someone's shoes. If you can buy a huge diamond, you can brighten someone's horizon. If you can buy a grand mansion, you can help someone's pension. Why are the rich like snakes, never sharing what they intake? I have no strong, clear idea. I can't explain their phobia. They pump go into their vein to escalate our daily pains. They say, what is it for me? More humanity, our society. I'm exhausted from contributing while the pockets sing. I'm exhausted from working to keep their wheels turning. I'm exhausted from paying while they're busy trading. This pyramid needs to end. Poverty needs to descend. We all live on Mother Earth, enjoying life for what it's worth. Thank you.
Ed, thank you very much. Great job. As always, having you here. Thanks for your rhymes and your the lovely things that you say for me every week. It's highly appreciated. Round of applause for Ed Potastic. On deck, me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Dig Wayne. Hello, Dig.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everybody. Baba Ngoma, very beautiful. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. Beautiful feature. I got two here. An apology to my dog. That shaggy bear we hired to teach you the saxophone and stand on two legs surely shat in the woods. The glib pigeon we brought around to help you learn French with her cigarette smoke smelling feathers. The shy capybara that offered to teach you to swim couldn't face the fact that he was a rodent. But that was no excuse for his eating his own feces. I guess that's just what they do. That pushy chimpanzee offering bongo lessons at the mall seems so talented, but a purple zoot suit can hide a lot of crimes. That wise old owl we rescued knew he couldn't teach you to fly, but you were determined to jump. We're sorry. Who was a good girl then? Who was a good girl? Thank you. They. I ain't going to stand here and tell you how dangerous people can be when you threaten their hallelujahs. You'll find that out soon enough when the shouting starts and the hole in your gut swallows your nerve. The bloodletting is how they trick you into believing in death as a side effect. Drip, drop, scabs as thick as hamburgers. Embroiled in humanity, fear of solitude, cozy up to the sanctified masses with their lukewarm teapots and starched smalls. Praying for deliverance from deenie bugs and witches' tits and holistic sinkholes. Shiny trauma castles painted white extend to the heavens for members-only jackets with dead fish handshakes, sucking the soul out of healthy blasphemy. They blind you with paper airplane dollar bills like children bullied into sugary corners, happy to walk the line. Thanks for listening.
Dig, thank you so much. Missed you the last couple weeks. Thanks for giving us another shot.
Oh, well, thanks very much. It's nice to be missed. Thank you. Nice to be back.
It's good to have you back. Thanks so much for being here. Good work tonight. As always, round of applause for Dig Wayne. Thank you, Dig. All right, I'm going to close out the shindig with two poems. I enter the Wurgle Flomp contest every year. This is a contest that an organization called winningwriters.com puts on. And originally it was a statement against the vanity poetry publication sites that used to exist, poetry.com being the most famous of them, where you'd submit your work and, invariably they would publish it and send you a letter about how amazing it was and then offer you the opportunity to buy the hardcover book that it was in for like $800. And so Winning Writers tried to shine a light on that contest and other similar contests by asking folks to write the most ridiculous poem they could possibly write, submit it to a vanity contest like poetry.com, and then submit the acceptance letter with the poem to Winning Writers, and then they would choose a winner. I actually won the first Wurgle Flomp contest a bunch of years ago. I failed to even place since then, so I guess I've kind of lost my mojo, but this is the entry that I wrote this year in the vein of trying to write something ridiculous. It's called Foop Lop Baby. When cats and bananas speak, when you tongue kiss pigeons, when punctuation comes as a suppository, then Foop Lop Baby, Booby Bobby Baby. When your larynx is a pharynx, when your pharaoh is Clyde Barrow, when your nipples explode with delight, then Foop Lop Baby, Booby Bobby Baby Bee. When your words are nerds and your turds are minor thirds, when they publish your poems on the side of butt paper boxes, then Foop Lop Baby, Booby Bobby Baby. When your haircut is a bear's nut, when your shared drive is a beehive, when your telephone is a shame cone on your big bone, then Foop Lop Baby, Booby Bobby Baby. When your cat does math, when your Godzilla takes a bath, when you follow the humdinger's path, then Foop Lop Baby, Booby Bobby Baby. When your stanza doesn't rhyme or follow the pattern you established earlier and you're too lazy to fix it, indented fourth line, then Foop Lop Baby, Booby Bobby Baby. How many Kennedys does it take to line the bottom of a lake or cure cancer with your clam bake? Words make my foop ache. Then Foop Lop Baby, Booby Bobby Baby. Foop Lop Baby, Teddy Bear has a single raby. Booby Lincoln maybe. Italicize the shit out of everything, baby. I feel that should have placed this year. I should enter a contest with fewer entries, I think, that I personally am the judge of. All right, there's that one. And this is a poem written for this week's Torah portion, as a natural progression from the previous poem, the title in Hebrew is Beha Alotcha, which means when you raise. And I wrote this after the music conference I went to a couple of weeks ago, which is why I wasn't here 2 weeks ago. It's called Sing Songs, Raise Spirits. I just returned from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, where I was surrounded by a choir of angels whose only purpose was to raise their voices until we were all floating on each other's breath. Love was in the air and our eyes, and in the selection of musical notes strung together, which we jotted down in our electronic devices to bring back to our own communities with hope, we could raise them up a little too. This is what I have been entrusted with. Sing songs, raise spirits. I told them once, the people in Newhall, we're not here to show you what we can do, but rather to show you what you can do. They laughed and continued to pay me, but the mission continues. Sing songs, raise spirits. This is what we did for 3 nights in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, where the mosquitoes are larger than life. The weather changes between every step, and the woman who wrote Miriam's songs, Spirit, still raises us all high above the rooftops and trees and sky. We are the fabric of the universe, praying to fix the broken, just like Moses did for his sister. The true work is in the lifting. When we raise, we illuminate. When we sing, we pray so many times. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. Another Cobalt is in the books. I'm incredibly grateful for our featured reader, Ngoma, for his reading. Truly stellar, truly memorable, something I think we're going to hold with us for a long time. And I've pasted the stuff in the chat again for you. Please consider tipping Ngoma for his reading at the Cash App link that is there. And of course, you can download his broadside at the broadsides link that I pasted next. When you're there, in addition to viewing all the broadsides, you can click on calendar to see who's coming up next. As I mentioned earlier, Sneha Madhavan-Reese will be our featured reader next week, poet I found on the pages of Rattle magazine. If you don't get our weekly emails, I'd like to say you should click on email list there and you'll just start getting them. But I understand a bunch of people didn't get the one that was sent today. So I'm going to look into that technically. I know mine went into the junk folder for some reason. I'm sure I can look into that and see what I can do about fixing that. But maybe glance at your junk folder. Just put it on your calendar and know that you can always go to the Cobalt Poets website. And the latest thing, including a Zoom link, will always be there. And the Zoom link never changes. It's always Tuesday nights, always at the same time. And anytime we're not having a reading, it's listed there as well. So there you go. So that's everything I need to tell you about all of that. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thanks, Ngoma. I'm going to click Ask All to unmute so y'all can say hi to each other.
Hi.
Thank you all. This was a good evening.
Excellent.
Hello, everyone.
Have a good night.
Everybody's set was fire tonight.
Lovely, lovely.
It was
Thank you.
great today.
Blessings, Baba.
Goodbye from tomorrow.
Baba,
The
feature was outstanding.
The features were absolutely wonderful, and I kept getting flashbacks of a poet named. I kept.
Agree more.
Go ahead.
See you next week.
I just was wondering if either of the features knew a poet named Sekou Sundiata.
Sekou Sundiata is no longer alive.
No, I know that. He died several years ago, but I've seen him and met him a couple of times, and I was just wondering, that old Harlem's like I get flashbacks from that.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine.
Really?
Wow.
How long ago did he pass?
Oh, it's got to be about 10 or 15 years now.
Wow, that long, huh?